Hey everyone, Coach Patrick here with another special coach video just for you. A little update on how things are playing out now that race season is back in full effect. It is June of 2021. The pandemic, from a race perspective, is closing as events are coming back. Of course, people around the world are still struggling with COVID-19, and collectively, hearts go out to those people and hope that we can, as a planet, do a better job of taking care of everyone on it and making sure that people are safe. But today I want to talk to you a little bit about what it means specifically on race day when you face one of these important race day inflection points, key decisions that sort of dictate how the rest of your day works. And this is something that you learn over time as an athlete. You go, let's say it's a marathon. You do 10 marathons, you've tried it 10 different ways after 10 different versions. Some of them work, some of them didn't. You kind of have a better sense of what your personal inflection point is. But what if you don't have that level of experience with race day? How do you go ahead and determine where the key inflection points are in your day? Well, that's what I'm here for. Endurance Station is all about moving you forward faster, making you better faster, not just faster. And the goal here today is to kind of give you some insights to this. So I think of there being 3 key inflection points on the day. And I really want to kind of set the tone for you by giving you this framework, and you can use it for whatever your endurance event may be. Okay. So key inflection point number 1 actually happens well before race day. And this is our race simulation workouts. I cannot stress enough how important it is that in your training block, whether you're with us or you're with another coach or you're training on your own, that you have a simulation workout where you do the workout similar to your race on a similar course in similar gear, ideally similar conditions as best you can. You're essentially creating a plan and then executing that plan in a test environment. Just like someone who manufactures a car would have that car go out and be tested, we want to think about that early version of you as kind of that crash test dummy. How does it work? I had this aspiration of running this fast or drinking this food or, pacing myself in this way or taking these breaks. Well, okay, make that plan and then do the plan, right? In your training, you've got the fitness, you're preparing for this big event. Let's do it. So this first inflection point happens in this race simulation because we learn a great deal from putting our plan into action and then modifying that plan. So we have a better plan by the time we come to the race, right? So key inflection point is, do I or do I not do a race simulation before my event? The answer is yes. And typically it's anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks, depending the heavier it is on the run side or weight bearing side or a duration side, the earlier you may go in that taper period into your race, so you're further away from the event itself. Okay, the second key inflection point, on race day actually comes I think maybe sort of an unexpected area. And I talk about it being sort of at that 10% done mark. Okay, so at 10% of your day, if you're doing a marathon, 10% of your marathon, mile 3, let's call it, right? If you're doing a 100-miler, 10%, mile 10. If you're doing an Ironman, 10%, probably just about the end of the swim. And why do I think of this 10% mark is really important? Because this is gut check time, right? So you had all this plans, all this resources, everything ready. You've started, and now by the 10% mark, you have settled. So you've moved from sort of that anxious, stressed out, super amped version of you to this is what I do, I'm doing what I do, I'm moving, where am I at? And this 10% mark is actually a really important gut check. Now, some people look at this and say it's too early, right? Things aren't even hard yet. Things are going to get hard. We all know that when we sign up for these events. But this 10% mark is really key to make sure that early version of you is not only complying with that plan that you set out in that first part, but that early version of you also feels like early version of you should feel. So we're not only making sure that you're compliant in terms of execution, but we're also making sure that your body is functioning in a manner consistent with what you've expected it to do on race day. And this is really important because if we have any early aberrations from that norm, slightly higher heart rate, slightly lower power, lower pace, something just not right, not feeling right, those things don't get better in the context of the race, right? So if your job is to photocopy 10,000 pieces of paper, and at 1,000 pieces of paper, you can see that the toner is about to run out, and you're only here at the office and there is no more toner, this is not going to fix itself. We have to address these situations early. So this 10% mark for our second key inflection point is actually super critical to make sure that you are, in fact, not only aiming for where you want to go, but you are walking the path. Running the path, riding the path, jogging the path, hiking the path, roller skating the path. I have no idea, but you're doing the path on the way, which is super, super important. Okay. And then the third key inflection point, and this is what more people, I think, envision being as the only key inflection point, but I think it's really important. There's a time in your race when you have to switch from the defensive mode to that offensive mode, right? And for most people, if you look at a typical race, you see everyone kind of sprint down the finish line, right? For most people, that switch happens when they can visually see that finish line. But for you as a, sort of, self-challenged, self-competitive endurance athlete, that line has to come earlier in the day, right? If you're going to really achieve your potential, we can't wait until it's a given, right? I don't want to say like, am I going to make this putt? Well, if I'm two inches away from the hole, yeah, I'm going to make that putt. I want to back that up. I want to back you down the course. I want to walk you away from that finish line to the point where you can't see it anymore, to the point where you don't hear the sounds, the music, the announcers, to the point where the volunteers are still not saying just one more mile, right? Instead, I want to back you down to a place where you have got to do work between now and the finish, right? So I look at this almost as that last 10% mark, right? So you've got the race simulation, 10% mark, and then the 90% mark, that last 10% of the day. This is where things get hard. Those last 2.6 miles in a marathon, the last 10 miles in 100. This is where the finish line is close enough that you can start to feel that magnetic pull, but you're also far enough away that you could make critical mistakes if you're not careful. If you do it right, this last 10%, you can be successful. You can recoup a fair amount of time. You can build a significant advantage over those around you if you are truly competing there. And this is the opportunity window where you have a chance to, close things out. If you were going to do a 14-hour Ironman, this is your chance to get under 14 hours at this mark, 10% to go on the day, right? 140 miles, right? 10% to go. How can we do it, right? If you opt out of this mark, if you continue to push this 10% to 8%, to 6% to go, 5%, 4%, the window of opportunity begins to close. And this is the hardest one of all because this window hurts, right? It's easy to talk about work early in, the first part with the race simulation because we're not tired. We haven't done all the events together. We haven't done all of that work. It hasn't been a couple days. But here on the event itself, this third inflection point, super tough because there are many, many reasons. And if you can't think of them now, your body and brain will think of them on the day and will do their best to kind of get you out of your game, to get you off the competitive table and put you in a place where you're just happy to be there. You're just happy to finish. But if you're truly competing, that's not where we want to settle. Okay. So think about that last 10%. So to recap, first key inflection point when we think about our day, that race simulation. Got to have a plan, have to put it into practice so you can learn from it. Second key inflection point, 10% down. Are you in fact doing the things you need to do? And is your body, in fact, responding the way that you expected? Two early pieces of information we need to know so we can gain early alignment and make sure that a 1 degree change, of course, doesn't turn into a 10 or, a 20 or 30 degree change, of course, later in the day, and we just didn't catch it early enough, right? And then finally, the third inflection point, the last 10%, the 90% done, 10% to go mark. This is where things get tough. This is where you really have to grit your teeth. Your numbers are where they are. You're not going to be able to change them. Instead, you're focusing on the small things like not slowing down, by getting in the right calories, by finding opportunities to make the course faster, shorter, whatever you can do to get to the end. You're continuously telling tiny, small lies to yourself, anything to get yourself to the finish, to push through it. And this is the hardest of all the inflection points, but in many ways, the most important. You can be successful there if you've been successful at the first two as well. So build them in order, starting before the race, starting early in the race, and then finishing with that last 10%. No matter what race you're racing this season, we want to wish you the best of luck here from Endurance Nation. If you need help with coaching or guidance or race execution, head over to endurancenation.us where we can answer your questions. You can use the chat bot or sign up for any one of our 4 different memberships starting as low as $99 a year to make sure that you're all dialed in and on track for a fantastic season. Hope you are healthy and safe, and we look forward to seeing you out there on the races, totally crushing it. Take care, everyone.